What is up, YouTube? YouTube! Mr. King coming at you live from the studio. Here are the questions for the day. Please answer them now. And then when you're ready, please turn in the bell work with whatever you have. Here's some review. So remember, here's a hint, number 3. Exothermic is the opposite of endothermic, where exothermic means the heat goes outside. So if something's exothermic, you're letting the heat out. And if you're letting heat out, then the system, what's actually making the heat, will get colder because you're releasing heat, so you'll get cold. So a match is actually losing heat over time because it's letting all of its heat go outside of it. So eventually the light will go out. Next, today you're going to compare and contrast kinetic and potential energy. So in your notes, you're going to learn, why is it harder to walk up a steep hill? And as I go, please answer in your notes on the Google Doc. So what is energy? Energy is the ability to do work. And when I say work, I don't mean like a job, like making money. I mean work can be anything. Anything like moving or thinking or eating, exercising, lifting weights. That's all work. So you just need energy to do it. I'm going to go over the different types of energy today. The first one I want to go over is chemical energy. Chemical energy is just energy in chemical bonds. So like if we look at the Cheeto that we used yesterday, the Cheeto, if you zoom in, it looks like this, according to the website. This is the chemical. And remember, each one of those letters is a element or an atom. And then the lines represent bonds to those atoms. So the energy is hidden in those bonds. And the way you get the energy out is you break it. Kind of like a glow stick. To get the energy out, you have to break it. And then when you break that bond, basically energy is released from it and your body can use it. And that's what your stomach is really good at. Your stomach has a bunch of acid that will help you break down the food so you can get the most energy out of it. So what I want you to know is, to get the chemical energy, when the bonds in the molecules break, you get the energy to come out. And your body needs that energy from food to move, to think, and to survive. The next type I want to go over is a calorie. A calorie is what we did yesterday. What I really wanted you to take away is a calorie is how scientists measure the energy in food. Not all calories are equal. Like even though both a donut and an apple will technically give you the same amount of energy, apples will be healthier. For one, it's because sugar will make you less likely to stop eating, whereas an apple will make you much more full. And then I want you to think, what happens to calories that you don't use or calories that you don't burn? You may already know this, but calories that you don't use will be stored in your body as fat. Fat is basically just energy your body is saving for later. So that's why if people are trying to lose weight, they watch the calories, they'll eat less, and then they'll try and exercise more. Because when you exercise, your body is breaking down the fat that it needs, since fat is basically just stored energy. Next, we have thermal energy. Thermal energy, I want you to think of as just heat. So thermal energy is just the hotter something is, the more thermal energy it has. And the reason why things that are hot have more energy, it has to do with the atoms. So if you remember from last week, gas has the most energy on average compared to these other two, because these gas molecules are moving very fast. So then they'll do more damage because they have more energy. Next, for kinetic energy, I want you to try and remember, what does it mean to be a kinesthetic learner? So we know that you can learn 3 different ways. You can learn something visually by looking at it, through hearing it, or kinesthetically by touching it. So kinesthetic means like hands-on or touching. Kinetic is very similar. Kinetic just means moving. So kinetic energy means the energy you get from moving. The faster something is, the more energy or the more power it has. Okay, next. Now I want you to think for potential energy. What does it mean if someone tells you that you have potential? What do you think that means? So basically, potential energy is just energy that has not been used yet. You still have to use it to like a bunch of sandwiches you just made. That's all potential energy because you haven't eaten it yet. You're not going to get the energy yet, but you will. Or like a bomb that hasn't been ignited yet. This bomb could be a lot of energy, but it just needs a little fuse or an ignition. So it's just potential. And then like this coyote that's about to fall off the cliff, he's very high up, so he has the potential to fall very fast. He has the potential to have a lot of kinetic energy. He just isn't yet. Next, this one is a little tricky. I want you to think, why do you have more potential energy at the top of a hill than at the bottom? Try and think about it. Like SF has a ton of hills. Why do you have more energy at the top of one? And you may know that since you're at the top, you have more potential to move really fast. Since at the top of the hill you can go down a lot faster, thanks to gravity, you have more potential energy. Because at the top of the hill, you will have more kinetic energy soon. So basically at the top, it's very easy to turn your potential energy into kinetic when you fall or when you're on a bike or a skateboard on the top of a hill. So the higher up you are, the more gravitational potential energy, because you have all that potential energy to fall back down. Food is also potential energy because you need to eat it first before you get the energy out. Try and think, what are some other types of energy that I have not talked about, but you've heard about it? Think about like what powers your car or a nice car, or what powers like a bomb. And you might recall there's also electrical energy, nuclear energy, light energy, there's sound and mechanical. The main ones I just want to mention are electrical, nuclear, and light energy or solar. Yep, that's it. And then the last thing, please write a summary. Tell me, what did you learn today? And then try and guess, why do you think it's harder to walk up a hill rather than down the hill? That is it. After you've done all of those notes, please hit turn in and take the attendance survey. Yep, then you're all good. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.